Before we get started tonight, ladies and gentlemen, on another episode of Fast Break, I want to introduce y'all to a couple of our sponsors. First, the Southern California Warriors semi-pro football team. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organizations. Players pay to play and host so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get filmed to try out for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on the quest to earn titles that give players second chances since 2017. Whether you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance if you love your sport. You may get that second chance you've been waiting for as an athlete. You can find them on social media at Twitter at SoCal Warriors and on Instagram, Southern California _Warriors, and on Facebook, Southern California Warriors. Background Check International. Are you looking to background check a new hire on? Let Kit Freeman take care of that for you. Kit, founded as managed Background Check International since 1994, and he's here to help you with the screening process. Contact Kit and let him make the hiring process that much easier. This business is used for professional background checks and not for the use of any crimes such as identity theft or any illegal activity. You can find them on social media at Facebook at Background Check International, BCI, or visit on their website, bcint.com. Now on to the show. With the college basketball season coming to a close here in the following week, we go over who will be who's on the bubble and who's out, and who's deserving NCAA tournament bid. Plus, James Harden has made his debut for the 76ers. We talk about how good he looks with Joel Embiid and what that means for the team going forward toward the playoffs. Also, the Celtics, a little bit on a hot streak right now. Can there be a team that normally wants to face in the playoffs? We'll discuss that and much more here on Fast Break, live on IE Sports Radio. You're the referee for all in sports, and you're welcome to join us. Join us as you shout tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Lots to discuss, lots to get into tonight. We're going to have a fun show tonight. Plus, we got D-Lock back in the house tonight. D-Lock, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing pretty good.
Kind of breaking up there, sir. Let's see.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think I've got you now. Are you good? Let's see.
Yes.
All right, we're good. We're good.
Yes, it's good to be back. I had a rough conference meet last week, but I'm ready to talk b-ball.
And we're glad you're back. I'm glad, y'all had a good time down in Birmingham. And all right, let's hop on this thing tonight. D-Lock, the college basketball season is coming to the end. Yesterday in general, all the ranked teams that went on the road lost. You had Gonzaga losing late last night to St. Mary's. You had Texas Tech losing to TCU, which I think that was kind of coaching malpractice when I was watching that game. Towards the end, how that coach handled things. Look else around. Purdue losing to Michigan State. Kentucky losing to Arkansas. Auburn losing to Tennessee. So, and Arizona, big one right there, losing to Colorado. Kansas to Baylor. In your eyes, who you think like is deserving of the number one seed when kind of like push and shove come to the end? Who do you think, or you be like your number one seed is looking at it right now in your lens?
It's a lot of options. I really like Gonzaga, man. Gonzaga has so much potential. Very young, and they can do so much with that team. So I know that was a struggling loss that they have. Not sure how far they're looking forward, but Gonzaga has to be a team for me that gets that number. Wow.
Hang on a second, Neil. I'm trying to bring you back on. Hang on just a second. I have no clue what's going on with this speaker right now, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm trying to get it back on. But until I get back on, let's see. Let's see. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Hang on. Hang on one sec, D-Lock. Let's see.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you now.
Okay.
All right. I'm sorry about that, but go ahead.
I really like Gonzaga. What they put together so far. They definitely have a number one seed. It's just the fact that they have a great group of guys, and they're only going to get. I feel like they're going to put it together at the right time. Are you saying you want to say one team, or is there a couple teams that you wanted me to project the number one seed?
I guess a lot of teams, because Purdue lost. They've been one of the consistent top 10 teams of the year. Auburn, they lost, and they kind of been, I was going to say, playing terrible here the past couple of weeks, but they were kind of the bell of the ball not too long ago, and now they kind of took a little backslid just a little bit. So I think it's like, who can you put your number one seeds? Because how everybody projects and all this stuff about the quads and all that stuff. Who do you think would be number one seeds besides Gonzaga in your eyes?
Well, I also think that you're going to give that to Auburn. They did have a couple games that didn't end well for them. Possibly Arizona and Kansas. I mean, these teams have been putting together a good season. I remember, we would love to see teams that go undefeated and take it all away, but that's very hard to do, especially in college basketball. So, for me, I think these teams have earned those seeds, even with a few struggles. But, man, to be honest, I think it's more so about getting in the tournament. Of course you want to have that number one seed, but that number one seed puts pressure on all of these teams. So getting that number one seed, you're gonna have to play as a number one seed. So for me, because the number one seed in the NFL, they get a bye week, right? It doesn't happen with college basketball. They have to still play out. They just have high expectations, and they are expected to get to the Final Four. we've seen a lot of number one seeds not make it. So for me, I do think Gonzaga, Auburn, Arizona, and Kansas are going to be those number one seeds. They just have to put it in the par when the tournament starts.
I think for me, it's real hard. It's not like that one team that's really stuck out head and shoulders above the rest in this college basketball season. If you think back like Arizona, for example, you're talking about a team that wasn't ranked at the beginning of the season, but now, with their playing and stuff like that, and they took a double-digit loss to Arizona. Not Arizona, but Colorado. But they showed they're one of the better teams in the nation. Kansas, kind of had a real back and forth battle with Baylor last night. And I know they lost about 10 points, but I think the score don't show, how close that game really was, if that makes sense. It's really hard to say. I mean, Gonzaga, you can put them there. I'm pretty sure they win their conference, once again, plus their conference tournament. Even though St. Mary's may give them hell in the conference, championship finals. But it's real tough. Gonzaga, I think Arizona will have a good bounce back. It depends how deep Auburn goes. I might put them there. But like I said, they've been kind of iffy to me in my part. I thought about Kentucky. But my only problem with Kentucky, D-Lock, their health hasn't been there like it's been past years. A lot of guys been out with injuries, and I don't think they really have maximized the potential that they can be this year. Still a solid team, but I think if all those guys were healthy, I think it'll go a long way for them. I thought about Arkansas. That's a team to keep an eye on. I'm not saying they will end up on number one seed, but they're kind of like on the outside looking in on the number one seed in my eyes. I think they can string along some more wins, go deep, and maybe win the conference tournament in the SEC. I think you could be talking about Arkansas as number one seed. We'll see how the polls come out Monday. But I think, they got a good shot, as a number one seed. Granted, they ranked 18, but they still got a good shot right there. Another team.
Oh, yeah. I believe that.
Another team I got, maybe. I was thinking maybe, but, Duke. Coach Cage last year. Team's playing pretty well. They beat down Syracuse the other day. Mark Williams, he had 28 points, 12 rebounds. Bancamo had 21. Griffin had 20. Coach Cage last year. I think, to sell a story, I think the committee will put them as a number one seed. Can Coach K, as his last time as a number one seed, can they make a run? That sells that sells the story for the tournament.
I believe so. And that's going to bring pressure to Duke as well. So, I mean, that's how you want him to go out anyway.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. I mean, I think that is a high chance. And if that happens, more pressure, but pressure makes diamonds as well as bust pipes. But to think on the positive side, it does make diamonds, and I think that would be a great thing for Duke.
And before we move forward, D-Lock, who do you see? Who are some of your bubble teams that will probably get in? And some you think they probably won't make it. Or on a bubble and probably won't make it. On a bubble, but will probably make the tournament in your eyes. Because there's a lot of teams that on that bubble right now.
I mean, it's a lot of teams to consider. bubble, what happens is it puts you pressure on. Man, I'm looking at Michigan like, man, they got to make it.
I know.
You know, they are one of the teams. I know they got a lot of stuff going on, but they're one of the teams like, oh man, like how would this tournament look without a Michigan? Me as a Florida fan, I'm hoping we find some type of way. But Mike White is an up and down coach, dude. Like, you know, we're shocked somebody one game, and then the next time we just giving teams wins that they should have not gotten at all. And I think Memphis is also one of those teams to watch out for as well. And also, too, another one that's kind of on the bubble a little bit is North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you have a couple teams that have these records, but those are the shocker ones to me. So it's gonna. I think North Carolina gets in, though. To be honest,
You think so?
yeah, I do. Got them in, especially with Duke and everything going on. They got to put them in.
The bubble. It's gonna be a real lot of. There will be a lot of butthurt teams. I'll say that much. North Carolina, they played Syracuse on Monday, tomorrow. And then, on the 5th, they played Duke at Cameron. If they lose those two games, I don't see them making the tournament unless they win the ACC tournament. There's too many bad losses there in my eyes. And I think some other teams that have stronger resumes and those quad one wins, they really trying to push on people, that I think they'll get in. That they'll push ahead North Carolina. But if they take a loss to Syracuse, then you can write them off. They'll probably put them in the NIT. Now, what you said about putting them in, going on, you know, a potential matchup with Coach K in the tournament, that could happen. You know, they got, you know, money to sell and stuff like that for the NCAA tournament. Could happen, but I just thinking there's too many other teams that will leapfrog them in that position. Looking around, Memphis, you brought them up. I think they kind of slowly trying to figure things out as they go along. I think the injuries are somewhat behind them. They beat down Wichita State yesterday. So I think that's a good thing they got going for them. And then I'm just looking, you know, Mike White, Florida. I mean, yeah, they beat Auburn. But then, you know, this is like a few days ago, but then, like you mentioned, he's so up and down. You know, you lose to Arkansas at home. Then you turn around and beat Georgia. There's like too much inconsistency there. You lose to Texas A&M. You know? I know it's like too many inconsistency with Mike White in Florida at the moment. And a guy who's jobbing on a hot seat.
That's what I'm saying about that. That does not help at all.
And, you know, looking around else, I think LSU would get in. I think they may consider them a bubble team, but I think they'll get in. Going to the Big Ten real quick. You know, only way I see Michigan make it D-Lock if they go on a hot run. But they lost to Illinois today, which kind of don't help things. My hope is like, for them, is like if they make the tournament, if they win a Big Ten tournament, which I don't foresee happening. Because you got stronger teams way ahead of them, like Wisconsin, Ohio State, you know, in that same breath in Purdue. But I think if I had to choose a big team bubble team, I think Indiana would get ahead of Michigan. Mike Woodson might get a good run in the NCAA tournament. But it's just this bubble's gonna be real interesting and stuff like that. You know, I throw in TCU. They beat Texas Tech at home. That's another sneaky team right there to also think about. So there'll be a lot of question marks there. I don't see a lot of teams coming from the big Pac-12. Maybe Colorado. They made a good statement win against Arizona, but we'll see if they can string on a couple more wins to kind of sweeten up their resume. So I don't know, D-Lock. There's going to be a lot of bubble talk, here for the next week or so. And there's going to be a lot of interesting teams going to be left out of this field this year.
Well, the thing is, you have a lot of teams that are eligible that can get there. But, dude, the shocker ones to me is Michigan and North Carolina, though, to be honest with you. Like, that was a mind blower to me. Like, that's mind blowing. But somebody's going to get in and somebody's not going to make it.
And Adam Karnick in the chat, shout out to Adam, was good, sir. Before we move to our next subject, I think he has Rutgers suddenly forced himself into the dance? And that's a good question. They're 10-8 in conference play, 16-12 overall. I don't know, Adam. They have some good quality wins, especially in conference play. Just this month alone, they have beaten Michigan State, beat them down, beat Ohio State, beat Wisconsin, beat Illinois. Good quality wins. And then the losses ain't too bad, in a sense. I mean, a loss is a loss, but, I mean, they ain't bad losses. Except for Northwestern in the beginning of the month. D-Lock, what you think? Rutgers have a pretty solid season. Do you foresee them being a tournament team? I think I lost D-Lock there. But to answer your question, Adam, I think Rutgers, I think they should be in because that's a team that nobody wants to see. And I think, there'll be a good storyline there. Like, who wants to play Rutgers? A team that, can scare the crap out of you. A team that you don't want to see as like a 12 seed, 11 seed like that. So that's a good question right there, sir.
Yes, are you here?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay. I don't know. I think it might have been my connection. I'm not sure if it was yours or mine.
Yeah, Skype is acting up.
Yeah. Hey, we start talking about how bad Florida and Michigan and North Carolina look. They start trying to kick us out.
I know. Like, no, y'all can't talk bad about us. But before we move on to James Harden, I'm asking you think Rutgers should be a tournament team with the quality of wins they have in conference play?
So, the thing about I definitely think they should get in.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And we'll see how things shake out for the rest of the year. And then come next week, I think we'll have a better projection how things going to look and all that stuff. But D-Lock, James Harden finally made his debut with the 76ers. Played pretty well for them. and all that good jazz. They win today against the New York Knicks, who has really taken a slide from compared to last year. James Harden had a good stat line today, a great stat line, you'd be more exact. 29 points, 16 assists, 10 rebounds, with Joel Embiid contributing 37 and 9. How far do you foresee the Sixers going with this duo? Harden seems motivated. Embiid finally got like a real actual threat to go alongside with them. How far do you think this team can go with these two at the helm?
I think they can go pretty far. This is a great combination. I think they can do well together. The only problem I have with this team is how long are they going to be able to sustain this? Because they just got together, right?
Yeah.
You know how it is when you first get in a relationship, you're excited, everything seems great, and then later on down the road, you have to have that same consistency, which a lot of people fail to have. And to back that up, we've seen James Harden have those different situations happen in the past. I mean, don't forget, dude looked like he ain't worked out in months when he was in Houston to try to get out of Houston. Then he gets out of Houston and goes somewhere else. Goes to Brooklyn. Now he's looking like a different guy. And then he was ready to get out of Brooklyn. So for me, how long does this last? How long can they stay motivated? Because right now, the duo looks great. It looks excellent. But they're only a few games in. So my thing is I want to see this be consistent and how long this lasts. If it can last a while, they can stay motivated. Maybe grab a few more pieces. If Tobias can come along with them, I think they'll be fine. But I have to see the consistency first and see if they're committed to
it. Shout out to Mike Pat in the chat tonight. Mike made a good point, D-Log. Embiid made 23 free throws today. That's a stat line that I think I noticed with this pairing with these two. The free throws, the foul, drawing the fouls, stuff like that. That's been real plus there. And plus that, I mean, Ben Simmons can give you, I mean, he can draw fouls and stuff like that. How he can draw the lane, how big he is and whatnot. But problem is, you know, he ain't that good of a shooter like that to take it. I mean, he ain't a good shooter trying to take advantage of that. It make life simple. Like when Ben Simmons is motivated and stuff like that, ladies and gentlemen, he's a walking triple double. Let's be real about that. If you really think about it, he's a walking triple double, rebounding wise, assist wise. I mean, scoring. I mean, yeah, you want to take some jump shots and stuff like that for spacing reasons, but driving in the lane and stuff like that, getting in once at 6'10", man, you're a walking triple double. You know, Adam saying Jack like hacking Embiid. Nah, you don't want to hack Embiid because he's at least a half-ass free throw shooter. But you kind of seen James Harden getting back to himself, D-Lock, like getting to the free throw line, drawing fouls, playing up, the pick and roll with Joel Embiid, in which it's really going to be hard to guard that. Okay, like who you stay with? Are you going to stay with Embiid, or you stay with James Harden? It's really tough to say. Embiid can roll to the basket and maybe get a draw foul that way. Or you can pick and pop like that, boom, say at the free throw line or maybe the 3-point line and switching it down your face. It's hard to guard those two. And to y'all's point to the chat, hey, it's going to be hard to guard those guys in a pick and roll situation like that. And yeah, when it's hard to guard something like that, and then you kind of late on rotation trying to defend the post, and you rotate late to the post and try and guard Embiid, yeah, you're going to get those foul calls. And yeah, you're going to see nights like Joel Embiid getting 23 free throws. That's going to be tough. But like you mentioned, D-Lock, I think Tobias Harris, his shooting got to be better. If this team is going to go a long way, he can't be taking a whole bunch of shots and be empty, if that makes sense. I think Tyrese Maxey, I think he's coming along pretty good. But don't try to put too much on his plate right now, in my eyes.
Nah, he needs to come full circle.
Yeah.
I think he has to step it up.
I definitely agree with you there. Do you think this team are they as they are now? Do you see them making a run to the conference finals, or maybe to the NBA finals, or do you see somebody else, standing in their way?
Well, I don't think they make the NBA finals this year. I think Milwaukee is going to be the team. I think. I think Miami's going to make a push for Milwaukee as well. I like the chemistry and what they got going on over there. So I would give Philly some time, but also, even next year or years down the road, they're going to have to deal with Brooklyn. Like we talked about earlier, you find a motivated Ben Simmons, and he can be a player to watch out for. So for me, I think Ben Simmons is a guy that is probably a huge piece for Brooklyn and what they have, and it could play out for the better for them. So for me, I think they could get there, but they're missing like one key player on that team. I think they need to pick it up defensive wise in Philly for me to make that commitment to them going to the NBA Finals, because Milwaukee's not going anywhere anytime soon, Miami's not going anywhere anytime soon, and Brooklyn's not going anywhere anytime soon.
But I think there's one team who's really stepped up to the plate here the past this month, and that's the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics, D-Lock, they've been playing excellent ball. For the last 10 games, they're 8-2. Now, granted, they lost the other day to the Pacers, but this team has really founded themselves in my eyes. And this is a team that, at the beginning of the season, when we talked about it, I was like, I like the hiring Yukota. I think if things are more consistent between Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, it can go a long way. Now we're kind of seeing if these two can be consistent shooting, have high scoring games, all the rest of the pieces kind of fall into place. And they've been playing great, despite the loss to the Pacers. Could the Celtics make a run, D-Lock, towards the second half of the year, towards the playoffs? Because right now, they're sitting at 6. They're right behind Milwaukee in the standings. Could they make a run where they're still playing in the playoff? Right now, or do you foresee them just kind of hanging where they're at right now?
I think they will, but it's going to be heavily depending a lot on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is starting to come back to himself, and what we love to see about him. But I think, and then the fact that they moved in the Schroeder now is more depending on the guards that they have and the Jason Tatum. We hadn't even questioned why they signed Schroeder in the beginning.
Yeah.
So, for me, I think that they'll make that push forward soon, but it's going to take some time for them to get there. But they're gonna need some help.
I think that, yeah, you make a good point. They probably do need some help. I think another team, Toronto, we ain't really talked about a lot this year. They've been playing very well here the past month as well. And then, with Brooklyn, if y'all don't know this, ladies and gentlemen, but the story's been coming out that New York City, state, how you want to phrase it, or stop requiring that vaccine mandates come March 9th. So that's something to keep an eye on because Kyrie has not played a whole game yet with this Brooklyn Net team. Now, what we mean by that, yeah, they were ending the mandates for the COVID vaccine, but that's not still private sectors can still do their vaccine mandates or whatnot. Barclays Center, I looked this up before we came on. They still require vaccine mandates for their employees and stuff like that. Now, what that means for Kyrie, I don't know. For Kyrie, I really don't know what that means. In terms, D-Lock, will he be in the arena and stuff like that? It's hard to say. But if a Kyrie, D-Lock, can play without the vaccine, I think that will go a long way for the Nets to kind of gain some ground and stuff like that. I think the one huge factor, the Brooklyn Nets, Ben Simmons. The report's saying that he's been having back issues. I hate that report came out because I'm kind of mad that this dude chose to set out for as long as he did, bitched and moaned.
And now he hurt.
And now, what the hell you been doing, dude, for the past few months? Like, what you been doing to sitting your ass and playing video games or whatever? Or doing whatever else? Now they don't have a timetable for him coming back because of a back issue. And I'm not saying the back issue is legitimate. I mean, not legitimate. But D-Lock, you're an athlete. You do nothing else. Okay, cool. You're not coming back to the Sixers. Whatever. That's your prerogative. Whatever. But you gotta stay ready to be ready. And you don't know when you're gonna get traded. But wherever your team you go to, you gotta stay ready. And I think this poor planning by him and his team. What you think about that?
I mean, that was a terrible way that he went about that. Because for me, I feel like you do have to be prepared at all times. Now, granted, he didn't know when he was going to get traded, but players get traded all the time. They'll probably be at practice and find out they're going to another team. I don't know how many people actually watched The Last Dance, but if they remember, Scottie Pippen had on his hat and then just got drafted, and then found out he got traded to the Bulls. Somebody said, "Yeah, you got the wrong hat on." So these things happen, and you have to stay ready. So I think in this camp it could have been better situated. They could have prepared better for that. But now they have to deal with the situation at hand. And but we have to see how long this upholds, because clearly I don't think he's been working out or anything. But now Brooklyn has to deal with that.
I mean, yeah, it's Brooklyn's problem. And I think with KD coming back here within a week's time, I think and the vaccine mandate going away here soon, come by like March 9th. I think it'll be the perfect time to have everybody ready to go. That first home game for all those three guys, but then you got this report coming out saying, we don't know when Ben Simmons gonna play. Like, come on, dude. What the hell you been doing? Like, you used to be a professional athlete. You always gotta stay ready.
Correct. No, you gotta stay ready at all times, and that's my thing. Like, you have to know that because one day you just sitting at home and then give you a short story. If you train every day like you're supposed to, you could be. I'm literally playing a game on a Monday, and I get a call from my agent saying, "Hey, we got to fly to Europe tomorrow for a meet on Wednesday." So a track meet on Wednesday. So he has to be prepared, and I think that's where not only him but his team hurt him. They should have let him know that. But now this is what they have to deal with. So hopefully this is a learning lesson moving forward. He's very young right now. This doesn't need to happen again.
Let me ask you this. Ben Simmons kind of been I guess, how can I phrase it? He's been kind of prepared for this professional style for a while. When he had this mindset already since like junior year of high school, in a sense, to always be ready like this.
Yes. What we're seeing right now with Ben Simmons and most NBA players or most professional athletes at their age, they've been doing this stuff for a long time. So all you're doing is seeing exactly what they've been doing and what has been okay for them for a while. So we talked about the non-shooting, the shooting problem that he has, the confidence. All of these things, remember, he was probably one of the most talented guys on his roster growing up for the longest. So he was able to get away with a lot of those things. But that's not the case in the NBA or any professional level. The higher the level, the more competitive it is. I remember going to high school and running against guys that were just on the track team just to be out there with their friends, and then going to college and running against guys that were running for scholarships, and then being a professional and running against guys for paychecks. So it's a different level, and you can't treat it the same. You have to increase and put more of your time and be more acclimated into what you're supposed to be doing. So Ben Simmons right now is treating as if he was still in high school, and I think that needs to change because he was so used to being the better guy, the better athlete, the one that can just come on the court and just go out there and perform. We always hear a lot of people say, "Well, I can go out here and just do this in street clothes." Well, yeah, I mean that could be done at a younger age or younger level, but that's not the case on the professional level. We've heard the story about Deion Sanders going to run a 40 in some jeans, go run the 4.2 or 4.3 or whatever. But I guarantee you them same jeans he's not playing the actual game in, or wouldn't even try if he had the opportunity. So that's just a level that he has to bring. He needs to bring a professional level to it. And this is just him having to break away from his camp, giving him those leeways of doing those things for years and years and years. So that has to change ASAP.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's got to change. I don't foresee Brooklyn making a run like that with Miami, and Chicago up top right now, and Philly, I give credit to Philly. They still stay in the top three with all the stuff going on. So I give credit to do on Doc Rivers and company on that. And then Cleveland, I'm not saying they'll make a push for a championship or anything like that this year, but they've been a real surprise team this year, and they really kind of stayed in that 4 and 5 spot for the most of the year. So we'll see how things shake out for Brooklyn. Come when everybody's good to go here in March, and see if they can make a run out of it. But before we go, ladies and gentlemen, DeMar DeRozan has been playing great this year. Joel Embiid has been playing great this year. D-Lock, who do you have in the MVP race right now in the NBA? I mentioned those two guys. There's Jokic out in Denver.
It's hard.
And Luka Doncic. Who you got in your MVPs right now?
Well, the level that DeRozan is playing on is incredible. But he's definitely in there for me. He's probably top 3. I would give the nod to Joel Embiid as well, but that's going to slightly change just because Harden's there. So I think we're going to see his production slightly drop. Not drop increasingly crazy, but I think it's going to drop down because we're going to see Harden take more shots, Harden get more rebounds, Harden get assists. Jokic is Jokic. He's been the same guy. Another person I put in that category is Giannis. Now, the reason why we don't hear that much from Giannis is because you have a Chris Middleton playing extremely well. Bobby Portis is having an outstanding year. And Drew Holiday is starting to get things cooking as well. So like Giannis is in there, but for me, the clear favorite is probably DeRozan. And Luka's playing outstanding as well. Now, he may take a step up now that Porzingis is gone. So let's keep an eye on him. But DeRozan is playing out of his mind right now.
I think for me, DeMar DeRozan, Joel Embiid are my 1-2. And, it pains me to see DeMar DeRozan playing as well for the Chicago Bulls, in which he wanted to come to the LA Lakers. It really sucks that he wanted to come to the Lakers. They said, nah. And then he goes to the Bulls and playing out of his mind for them right now. Those two guys I got 1-2 right now. I can throw in Steph Curry. I think a guy who should be considered to get some votes has really taken a leap this year. John Morant for the Memphis Grizzlies. He's not getting love right now that he should. And I think, that 5 spot, Doncic, Jokic, I think you can throw them in there. But I think if Chicago D-Lock, this is a bold prediction for me. I think if Chicago locks up the number one seed in the East, I think, me personally, I think DeRozan should win MVP. It's going to be a tight one because I think Joel deserve it as well. But I think if DeRozan and the Bulls can get that number one seed in the East, I think he should win the MVP.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like he's playing incredible. And for me, the way he's playing right now is just outstanding, man. Like he's putting up numbers like Wilt Chamberlain type numbers, and we never think we hear some stuff like that. So for me, I'm just looking at it like, dang, this dude just going crazy right now. So I definitely see him as that candidate. Now, I'm not sure if they can lock up that. Well, they have a good chance of being able to lock up that seed, but I think that right now, he's definitely the person that is leading the way. Um, Crazy enough, right now the Heat are playing outside. They're playing very well. They're playing good as well. So they have that number one seed. But the Bulls are there. So and if they want to win that number one seed, he's going to be the one that gets them there.
I definitely agree with you. This kind of depends on the voters, and sometimes these voters, they real shady how they vote. If that makes sense, it's like, what the hell y'all been watching? And then if y'all, sometimes they release a list of people who votes on these things, and you wonder how some of these people are credentialed to vote on these type of things. But DeRozan deserves it. I think in the term of MVP, you gotta look at all the angles. Does this person make his team better? Yes. Has he been a great player all around? Yes. He checks all the boxes. Yeah, you could throw in Giannis maybe, but Milwaukee, I mean, they've been this consistent. But the Bulls, I mean, we ain't been talking like the Bulls like this and since a good while, since like the Derrick Rose days. The Thibodeau Rose connection with Joakim Noah, Luol Deng, and others. So,
Yeah,
go ahead.
agree with you. I agree with you there. I mean, we haven't talked about him in a while. And dude, like, Zach LaVine, DeRozan, Vooch. But we talked about it this is one of the teams I thought was going to be very good when I seen what they were doing after they got Vooch, after they got DeRozan. So they're loaded, man. And I like what they're doing. But he is leading the way right now.
And I think before we close, I think DeRozan, I mean, he was a heralded recruit out of high school, had played 1 year at USC, and then has grown to the All-Star. And we know he can score on all that stuff. But I'll be honest with you, D-Lock. You were high on the Bulls coming to this year. Me, I was kind of like, I mean, they'd be better, but I didn't foresee this. I didn't foresee him scoring 35 plus points in that streak he had, only rivaling Michael Jordan in that organization. Derrick Rose didn't do it. Ben Gordon didn't do it. Zach LaVine didn't do it. But DeMar DeRozan did. And it's great for him, to be at this level where he is right now.
I mean, for me, it's kind of like, you remember when we first seen Kawhi leave San Antonio? It was like, we knew what he could have been. We knew what he could have done. This man goes somewhere else, and he just looked like the second, the third, the fourth best player in the NBA.
Yep.
It seems like DeRozan is following that same path, or a similar path anyway. So for me, like I said, I like what is going on. I just think that we have to appreciate this because we haven't seen this stuff in a long time, bro. And it's great to see. If you ask me. So I definitely appreciate this, and I hope we continue to see more of it. But I ain't gonna lie, he had me a little nervous a couple of days. I think it was yesterday. I had him on fantasy on my FanDuel, and he had like 12 FanDuel points at halftime, but he finished with 51. So he woke up that second half. So, but Yeah, he's playing out of his mind right now.
And before we head out, I'll read a couple more chats. Terry Rodriguez saying, D-Lock, I bet if DeRozan went to the Lakers, he wouldn't have been good having to carry LeBron and AD's baggage. I don't know. The way AD's been in and out the lineup and stuff like that, he picked up that scoring load, and the way he's been scoring and stuff like that, I think he will kind of balance that load in a sense, Taryn. And I think you want to be so and the Lakers not be so dependent on LeBron to score so much at his age that you got DeRozan here can carry that load for you, like he's been, showing this year. So I think it could have went pretty well, and he wanted to come. He's from out that way. That's another thing too. He's out from that. He's from that way. And I thought Russ coming back home like that too. I thought that would be like a good motivation factor, but it kind of showed that he's kind of cooked as well. And then Adam saying in the chat that he'll be discussing D Rose and DeRozan debate tomorrow night on his show. And Adam's show, I'm trying to pull that up right now. Oh, where's it at? Adam will go live tomorrow at 9. He'll be discussing that part. Has DeRozan, who's been better for the organization, DeRozan or Rose? That's going to be an interesting topic to discuss about tomorrow. The hometown kid in D Rose, or the outsider that kind of really flipped the organization upside down. So that'd be an interesting thing to talk about on his show tomorrow night. So please do tune in for that. D-Lock, how can people find you on social media real quick?
You guys can find me at Black-813. Usually I do all my talking about different sports, so I'll definitely be talking more, especially on see what my Magic, what the hell they doing. That we got lucky playing against Houston and beat them. But you guys definitely can find me at Black-813. Let them know where they can find you at, man.
You can find me on Twitter at Spawn4288. That is Spawn4288. Also, do follow us on Twitter at Fastbreak at IESR. That's Fastbreak IESR. And yes, sir, Terry Rodriguez set points right behind Chi-Town Weekly. So do check in for all your volleyball needs tomorrow night after Chi-Town Weekly tomorrow night. I do want to shout out our fan of the month, Mr. Jim. Jim's a Steelers fan. He's our fan of the month. Shout out to Jim. I know he probably ain't happy that the Steelers were going to move forward with Mason Rudolph. So I'm like, that's appetizing. And also, do check out IESportsRadio.com. Got a lot of new shows coming down the pike. We'll have a Florida show here coming out soon. Arizona show coming out soon. A Buffalo show coming soon down the pike. Baseball's on hiatus right now, so we're trying to, once we get things figured out there, we'll get that back up and rolling. So do check out IESportsRadio.com. If you want to be a Patreon member, there's a link in there for different tiers to help support us and our growth in our entertainment to y'all. And check out the gift shop as well. A lot of great stuff in there. Ornaments. I know it's past holidays, but still, it's good to shop ahead. T-shirts, flags, and all that type of stuff. And Taryn, thank you for that. Spuzz Chat, Rams fan in San Diego. Another fan for us here on iSports Radio. He's from San Diego. I know he's big happy about the Rams winning the Super Bowl. And I seem like the band's going to be back together to go at it one more time. So, shout out to Spuzz Chat for contributing this month. But this has been our show. Oh, forgot to plug this. I did another show on the side called The Crooks Process. I recently dropped a new episode talking about my Tennessee Titans. I'll talk about the season. I'll talk about what they do some free agency and draft and all that good stuff. So, look up The Crooks Process, Instagram and Facebook. Follow the link. New episode there. Give it a listen. And then until next week, ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
We out.